people are probably already asking, what is the Forever Agent? And we will get into it. And this is going to be a bit of an anthology. Each one of these points could be a 2-hour podcast in and of itself. We decided to come up with a podcast exclusively for the Forever Agent concept. I want to dive into this. Welcome to segment 2 of episode 2. We're going through the next 11 Forever Agent proclamations. We're going to waste no time jumping right into it. Number 12, real estate agents still use the term past clients. Forever agents are repelled by the term past clients. Now, this is different than the one we said in the first 11. Alan, why are forever agents repelled by the term?
They're repelled because they know that basically and essentially and fundamentally eviscerates all of their value. Christy Budnick's campaign concept for the convention was that forever agents must be invaluable. Being invaluable is in conflict with the concept of a past client. Being a forever agent is in conflict and collides with that. So if somebody's a real estate agent, it would never even occur to them that concept, those words, are their kryptonite. But forever agents will become repelled by the notion when they hear other forever agents say, I've got to do a better job of staying in touch with my past clients. I know we mentioned that to kick off the other segment, but I'm happy with kicking this segment off with that as well. We've got to eviscerate that concept.
Well, it's a different dimension on how we're talking about, because that takes away your value. So number 13, real estate agents still use the word comps. Forever agents do not use the word comps. I'm trying to brainwash myself to stop saying it, but Alan, why do forever agents not use the word? Is it because it's not a word in the first place?
Well, it's interesting because why would I want anybody as a consumer or a client to be my agent for life if they kicked off the relationship by insulting me?
What do you mean?
If anybody ever came to my home at any level of home that I've owned with my wonderful wife, Carol, and said to us, let's take a look at some comps, and started actually showing us pictures of other homes in the area, some of which we may have bypassed, some of which we may have been insulted by, there's no way I want to have a relationship with that person because they're not intelligent enough to find a better way of making their point. So why would I want to suffer this ignorance for the rest of my life? And so, I mean, think about it. It's absurd because it's the same thing as saying to somebody, let's take a look at some comparable children. Oh, come on, they've got 2 arms and 2 legs. And I may not be right, but I'm convinced every single homeowner who has ever heard a real estate agent, because forever agents aren't going to say this anymore, any homeowner that's ever heard of a real estate agent say, let's take a look at some similar homes, or let's take a look at the comps, and we're going to call yours the subject property because it's a subject. Anytime that's taken place, every single home seller in Canada, in England, in Germany, Michael Jalbert's built up the whole global network, they all say the same thing. But they don't have 5 bedrooms. That home doesn't have a swimming pool. They can't walk to Starbucks. When are we finally going to get the message that we're basically demoralizing people and they resent us and we're putting them on the defensive? We're minimizing the love of their home that they've put so much of an investment psychologically and financially for 10, 15, and 20 years. And in one sentence, we're commoditizing it. We've got to stop that. Forever agents can't use that word, in my opinion.
Well, I've stopped using the word because I've been lucky enough to receive some coaching from you around the master market analysis. And if you haven't seen Alan's distinctive dialogues, it's kind of baked in there. There's a better way to do it. We're disputing the term comps and we're exemplifying something else.
And here's the better way of saying it. Folks, let's take a look at properties which buyers will be evaluating at the same time they're evaluating your home.
It's a 2-hour podcast, Alan, because he's got so many lines for this, it's going to make your head spin. He shackles people with logic with the words you use, and you can't be lazy with your language, which we're going to get to on the listing side. But it also boils down to, look, if all your competition is doing one thing, do something else. That's basic differentiation 101. We're not saying comps.
And
anymore.
also, we're being more honest, because what agent would ever say to their buyer that says, "Oh, we don't like this home, well, let's go take a look at some similar homes"? That would never occur to them, because
it's not logical.
Because we really do believe that homes are different, but we don't act that way.
So this goes right into proclamation number 14, which I love. This is one of my favorites. Real estate agents employ lazy listing language. Forever agents do not use lazy listing language. Now, I just mentioned Alan's distinctive dialogues, and I've had the pleasure of spending the last 2.5 days preparing for I'm going to give a presentation in Omaha at Vince Lisi's incredible conference. If you haven't been to Explosion, by the way, in Omaha, Nebraska, with Vince Lisi out of Ambassador Real Estate, unbelievable conference. I'm super honored and humbled to get to share. And I'm combining my 12 years of doing marketing proposals with everything I've been able to absorb from Alan. And I can't wait to share it, because I know, based on implementing your concepts, that this is going to be, at least to me, the best way to do a marketing proposal and treat clients with respect, the forever way. So if you haven't read Alan's distinctive dialogues, again, it's in the resource center. Type it in and study it like I have. Anything you want to add to why we shouldn't be using lazy listing language?
Well, distinctive dialogue goes even well beyond listing language and lazy listing language. But just we'll talk about this later, that we both are big believers in DISC.
100%.
If somebody does DISC testing, but we think it's a disgrace when people try to do DISC guessing, okay? But be that as it may, while it could be convenient to categorize everybody as either a D, an I, an S, or a C, or whether they're tactile or what their astrological sign is, or numerology, we've covered that. Okay, we may not purge that level of convenience in the easy way out and the incorrect way out. But God Almighty, do we also have to have only 5 words to describe every home? Does every home in America and Canada and around the world have to be described the same way by our industry as either lovely, beautiful, charming, gracious, spacious, and elegant? We only have 6 words, and here's the problem. And we've said this in the other podcast. When people come into my home and they're delivering pizza for the halftime of the Super Bowl, they tell me, by the way, you've got a beautiful home, or you've got a lovely home. But they're not expecting tens of thousands or $100,000 commission. And so how can we basically go through our career saying, I don't sell real estate, I sell lifestyles? How can somebody say, I'm a storyteller, it's all about the narration, when every single property is either park-like setting or professionally landscaped? Because real estate agents spend more time thinking about how to describe the home within an ad than how they engage people full-time. I've always liked to say to home sellers, folks, may I take a few minutes and share with you the way I'd like to describe your home to the marketplace? That's the audition. They love to hear that. But that takes preparation. And that's why if you go into Dalton's distinctive dialogue, there's hundreds of different ways to describe homes face to face.
That's some black belt stuff. You got to be careful with this, because Alan's a black belt, third dan expert in this stuff. But you can't be lazy with your language. You can't be lazy in learning this stuff too. So it's on you. It's on you if you want to be a forever agent and have the ability to wow sellers every time with your preparation and your language.
Yeah, because Andrew, imagine somebody spending years and hundreds of thousands of dollars in home improvements, and they meet a average real estate agent. And by the way, one of my favorite sayings is this: to praise moderately is a great sign of mediocrity. So we have a lot of mediocre people praising homes. But imagine that these homeowners, they spend their life and fortunes improving their home, and a realtor comes in and insults them. How do they insult them? You've got a beautiful home.
Yeah, that cabinet's pretty nice.
Right, exactly. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, it's elegant. Go ahead.
Number 15, real estate agents believe the market determines the price. Forever agents do not believe the market determines the price. Alan, this is another one of your breakthrough thoughts, because what we know is the market only influences the price. And forever agents who can influence their peers, their colleagues, the buyers, the sellers, the other parties of the transaction have a dramatic impact on this. So take it away, because this is a big one. I've never heard anyone say this before, but I have heard people say, well, the market determines the price.
Well, you've heard me say this before, Andrew,
I know.
and you're very kind to what I say. But you've heard me say this: the real estate industry does not have an image problem.
Right.
We have a value problem. When it comes to image, we're prodigiously photoshopped. As I've said, sometimes the homeowner will say, gee, Bob, I thought your son was coming, but it's nice to meet you. So we're prodigiously photoshopped. You don't have to do it. We're prodigiously photoshopped. We're resplendently dressed. We invented personal promotion. We've been writing our own reviews. We're in the age of ratings and reviews. We've been writing our own reviews for 100 years.
Mine are real. Mine are real.
Exactly. And then we have parking garages that have luxury automobiles, Lexuses, whatever, and a host of other luxury automobiles. So we don't have an image problem. We have a value problem, because many consumers perceive a real estate transaction as a fee-inflated event, which they must subsidize in order to promulgate an inefficiently run industry. Simply put, they think they're being overcharged, and the industry's vulnerable because of that. What better way to validate that home sellers are being overcharged, even though all commissions are negotiable?
Yeah.
What better way to validate that they're being exploited in their minds than to come to the conclusion, the erroneous conclusion, that the market determines the price? Because if the market determines the price, and that's the way real estate agents think,
Not forever agents.
there's no value, because the market only influences the price. That's why if somebody were to sell $1 million worth of stock with, say, E-Trade to somebody, I think the commission might be $10 or $20. How many real estate agents would be satisfied with a $20 commission for a $1 million sale? Do you think we'd have many takers? No. But that begs the question, why would any realtor think they deserve more than $20 if the market determines the price? Because what they're doing is that they're stepping on their own ear hose. They're reducing the significance, because a stock is different, because you can't stage a stock. You don't negotiate a stock. You don't market a stock. You don't merchandise a stock. It's instantaneous. Most homes require a protracted negotiating process, merchandising, marketing, staging, networking, and all of that value collapses to nothing if we begin foundationally at the conclusion that the market determines the price, just because that's intellectually lazy. Forever agents can't be invaluable if they mimic what real estate agents say.
I bet you won't say the market determines the price again, because if you do, you might be disqualified, in my opinion, from being a forever agent. Beautiful synopsis there. Proclamation number 16 is similar but different, so pay close attention here. Real estate agents believes homes don't sell because of price. Forever agents appreciate that homes do not sell due to ineffective marketing and networking. Alan, this is all you.
Well, if the only reason a home doesn't sell is because of price, what would be the flip of that, Andrew?
Well, the only reason it does sell is because of price.
And if the only reason a home doesn't sell is price, would you agree with me, then you should be compensated at the level of an appraiser?
Yeah, or worse.
Yeah, or worse. So you should just come up with the right price and price it right, because the market will determine it, and that's the only reason it won't sell. The reason that the industry arrived at that thinking many years ago is something I said in the other podcast, Andrew.
Say it again.
This is the easiest, real estate is the easiest of all professions to enter, but it's the hardest to be the most successful at. That's why people like yourself, people like Heidi, Rosalie Warner's two daughters, okay?
Stephanie Peters, phenomenal.
Yeah, the people like yourself, people in Rethink, giants like Vince, Jimmy Burgess, these are the most successful people that they'd be successful in any industry. These are giants of commerce. But it is the easiest business to get into, but it's the hardest to be successful. So these individuals would be tremendously successful in any professional endeavor. So if the goal of the industry was to have a lot of people and have a low bars of entry, you can't make it sophisticated. You can't go around telling professionals that homes don't sell because of ineffective marketing, because you rob from them this opportunity. In the last 100 years, I don't think there's ever been a real estate company that's ever said, those homes didn't sell because we were ineffective. Those homes didn't sell because we stink at marketing. Every home that hasn't sold in the history of North America, it was for only one reason, because the homeowner was delusional in the pricing and didn't capitulate to the infallible wisdom of the realtor. So every single home that is not sold, it's always the home seller's fault. Therefore, that lowers the bar, it stultifies development. But if we instead arrived at this collectivized conclusion that the only reason a home doesn't sell is because of ineffective marketing, because price is part of marketing
And networking.
It would make a difference in terms of our value. Now, let's talk about networking. I may not be right, but I'm convinced that while every single real estate professional in the world loves the word networking, realizes that it's indispensable to their success, very few agents, when they meet with home sellers, are as likely to say, folks, tonight I'm here to talk about my marketing and networking plan. Or the only reason a home doesn't sell because of ineffective marketing and networking. And so we've got to do more to rejoice the value of network, because we've got a great global network. For sale by owners can market, but they don't have a network. Builders can market, but they don't have a network. We've got to do more to elevate in a face-to-face meeting with consumers the importance of the word networking.
I love this so much because, ineffective marketing covers the 4 P's of marketing: the product, which would be the home; the price, which is only 25% of it, not the whole thing; how you promote it; and then place, which in our world, location, and everything. Product, price, promotion, and place. We jettison 75% of it and act proud because of it, and it's silly. And Alan introduced the concept of networking a property. Well, that's actually what we do at the Sure Group in Baltimore. We're selling 2 homes a day, every day. I have great relationships with all the other top producers. Half of them owe me favors, and I'm happy to owe them favors. And we work together, not just with the agents, but the lenders, the title companies, the home inspectors, the appraisers. I've saved every appraiser's number I've ever met. I have more appraisers in my phone than friends.
That's why I think Forever Agents, and again, these aren't dictates. This isn't dogma. This isn't the Bill of Rights. This isn't the Magna Carta. But I respectfully suggest that Forever Agents, to an expired listing home seller, say, I'd like to come by and show you how we can upgrade your marketing and the networking.
Exactly. And we'll get into that too, because we're going to go over each one of the marketing programs: the listing upgrade program, the for sale by owner, the short sales. What Alan has on expired short sales and for sale by owner is going to blow your mind. But we're going to do it a disservice if we just touch on it. 17. Forever Agents believe that ROI only stands for return on investment. Classic business term. Forever Agents believe that ROI also represents return on influence and not just return on investment. Alan, it's a breakthrough thought. That's yours.
Andrew, thank God that ROI, I've given it an additional meaning, can mean more than return on investment. And here's why. I think you're in the top 7 or 8 teams in the global network, and you're only 35. It's astonishing. Yet, if everything came down to return on investment, then somebody could come into this marketplace that was a retired investment banker, and they could buy the market because they'd have a return on investment. They could exponentially outspend you.
Right.
But they would never match your success because of your networking, because of your use of social media, because of how you portray yourself, because of your charisma, because of your clients, your forever clients. You have tremendous influence. So you are more likely to benefit from a return on your influence than you are on investments, although successful agents are involved in both.
Yeah, and I got to give some credit too, because I get too much credit, but we have guys like James Lanham, who's helping us record this right now. He's phenomenal. Does so many roles for our company. We had Brandon Lardner, our videographer. I got two of the best, most gifted, we call them office directors, but the most gifted administrative people in Tara Frankie and Katie Snyder. I got so many people. My partner, Matt Pecker's incredible. Ibby Fazzini helps us with all the agents. Our team is so good. So it's not, oh, I'm so good and I'm so influential. I'm just fortunate to be around good people, because a team always outperforms an individual. But thank you for the kind words, Alan. 18. No, we just hit 18. Real estate agents only think of spheres of influence. Forever agents don't just develop spheres of influence, but influence their spheres. Now, you just touched on influence. I'm going to let you take it away again. But everyone hears about SOI. Make sure you are providing value to your sphere of influence. But how do we actually influence our sphere?
Well, we've all either heard or read the plaque. I think it's anonymous wisdom that goes like this. Watch your thoughts, because your thoughts lead to your words lead to your actions lead to your behavior leads to your character, and your character leads to your destiny. So words matter. Confucius said all wisdom begins by properly naming things. Shakespeare said, suit the action to the words and the words to the action. If we live in the world where we worship the concept of SOI, thinking that it means sphere of influence, and we don't devote as much of our brain power to the use of SOI being influencing your sphere. I used to hire former mayors of towns, Andrew. They knew everybody. They had massive spheres of influence, but they couldn't do real estate transactions because they couldn't influence their sphere regarding relevant real estate value. And so that's a important proclamation that we want to have every forever agent constantly going through a process of rigorous introspection and asking themselves, how much do I have a sphere of influence versus how much am I really influencing my sphere? Because that thought will lead to actions and behavior and destiny.
That's beautiful. Are you influencing your sphere? You have a sphere of influence. Everyone has a sphere of influence.
And how are you influencing them?
Well, that's what a forever agent studies and takes action and works on, influencing their sphere. 19. Real estate agents focus on search engine optimization. Forever agents maximize both search and seek engine optimization. Now, Alan, as the former CEO of Realtor.com, I don't think there's anyone on the planet more qualified to speak on SEO versus the seek engine that you've coined. So give us the difference.
Well, as I've said it in another podcast, when I was CEO of Realtor.com, I used to have SEO consultants and SEO companies contact me. I'd bring them into the office in Westlake Village, California. And the first thing I would always do is I would say, Susan, John, let's go to my office and we'll go to my laptop and I want to search and see where you come up under the search SEO specialist, SEO consultants. And then we'd do it and they wouldn't come up. So I say, how can I rely upon you if your whole world is on SEO and you can't even come up on the first page of the results? Because these companies are competing with 10,000 search engine scientists at Google on their robots, and bots rather. And so it would cost millions for somebody to win the SEO game. No one's going to win the search engine optimization game because that's an arms race. No one's ever going to outfox the algorithmic scientist at Google unless you're paying for search.
Right.
And that goes back to return on investment. Mm-hmm. And not all the forever agents have the money to win at SOI, at SEO, meaning search engine optimization. So I want them to think more of what I've coined as seek engine optimization.
Right.
How can you use technology like Chalk Digital, like the social media that you and Jimmy Burgess have mastered? How can they start thinking more about seek engine? Because otherwise, the internet and even social media to a degree becomes the modern day version of floor time, people are expecting people to search and find them. In fact, I used to go into many companies when I was at Realtor.com, and they were very prideful of their websites. And I would say, Andrew, you know, your website, congratulations, it's ranked 10,542nd in this category. Okay, so you're going to get some people. Now, our website, we're number 34, and maybe you like some of our traffic because hundreds of millions of dollars were invested at Realtor.com to win that search. Okay, we spent 50, 60 million a year with AOL to get their traffic to our site. Most forever agents don't have that kind of money. They're not going to win the search engine optimization battle, but they can work. And I know Bob Watson in the Forever Agent Coaching is going to go into greater detail of how you can win the seek engine optimization battle as a forever agent.
Yeah, that's an important one because you need people to be seeking you out.
Exactly.
Because your content has consequences. They need to be finding you instead of randomly popping up. And the quality of relationship and initial interaction when you have someone seek you out is obviously different. It's like getting a referral versus getting a tariff Zillow situation going. 20. Real estate agents only think in terms of social media. Forever agents appreciate the difference between social networking, social media, and social media marketing. We covered this one on another podcast. I'm going to jump in here because this has been one of our key differentiators. And look, allowed our company that didn't exist 8 years ago, and now we're going to sell well over $200 million. We'll probably be the number one team in Baltimore, one of the top ones in the state and in the network. Social media is thrown around as this loosey-goosey term. But Alan, these are your three distinctions. Social networking, how you interact with your friends, share your stories. Hey, I'm checking in over here at the pub. Who wants to come meet me? That's networking. We get networking. And all of them are important. You just got to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's strategy before just putting it as part of your plan. Social media in general is we are the content. It's social media because everyone's posting all their stuff. We are the people that propagate the whole industry. And that's social media in general. But social media marketing means to monetize this.
Exactly.
Did I get that right?
Perfectly. Those are profoundly important distinctions because otherwise people are approaching social media in the same way as high school kids are and college kids, and they're not monetizing it. In fact, this is so important, these distinctions, that Christy Budnick, our CEO, has authorized me to develop. We're in the process of this, of creating a social media marketing certification, which means that forever agents, when they meet with home sellers, they'll be able to distinguish themselves from regular real estate agents because every real estate agent will talk about social media, but they won't have a social media marketing certification. Now, let's go back to influence. I did a lot of research on influence. The two major ways for somebody to become influential are either through intimidation or prestige. And they gave examples of like the mafia. That's why they had the RICO Act. It was like for organized crime, it was because of their influence, okay?
Right.
Racketeering influence is what they called it. And that doesn't describe a forever agent. We're not going to be racketeering. We're not going to have racketeering influence. So what do we have? We have prestige. So there's a nexus between prestige and credentials. If somebody says I'm a doctor, they have more prestige, okay, than an intern.
Right.
Somebody who's a lawyer has more prestige than a paralegal.
Right.
I want to have, and Christy wants to have, network agents to have more prestige when it comes to the all-important universe of social media by creating social media marketing certification. So forever agents can look forward to that prestigious distinction.
I can't wait to get it, and I'm so glad you're the one doing it too, because look, we have the guy who's the former CEO of Realtor.com who understands more about search engine optimization, who wrote the book Leveraging Your Links, on and on and on, versus some kid who blew up on TikTok and he's 18 and he got 1 million followers, but he doesn't have the strategy behind it. So Alan, thank you so much for putting your time and effort into this.
Well, it takes a village. It's a whole team.
Well, can I be first in line or do I have to wait?
No, you go ahead.
I'll get it. Forever agents are going to get it.
We talking about closing techniques here? Let's go.
Well, hey, we'll get to that in the marketing proposal because I don't even have to close because my proposal's so good.
Okay,
if I would pat myself on the back.
I love it.
Well, you
hey, look, if you don't believe in yourself, that makes it unanimous, so that's great. It's great to have confidence.
And this ties into marketing proposals. Number 21, real estate agents still only talk in terms of CMAs. Forever agents appreciate the difference between a CMA and an MMA. Now, Alan, I brushed up on my technique on this, but since you created it and you've been dominating with the MMA since before I was born, and that's not a shot at your age, it just shows you have so much experience. And you have 1,400 agents and 60 offices and the #1 Better Homes and Gardens company. Tell us what the MMA is. Right? Get your pencil out.
Well, let's put it in a context.
Okay.
You've heard me speak to this about the need to be more strategic.
Right.
And forever agents need to be more strategic. The dean of the Harvard Business School once said that every person in business should ask themselves 2 seminal questions. Number 1, what do I do that my competition also does, but that I do better? And number 2, what am I doing that none of my competitors are doing? We're in an industry that we have a lot of imitators versus innovators. Therefore, what percentage of real estate professionals still to this day use the words or the letters CMA?
100%.
100%. And would you agree with me, a CMA is an important part of a transactional value?
I mean, yeah.
Exactly. And so why is it that every single person capitulates to the same definition? That's where you get to disputables, okay? You're going to dispute what people are doing. But we don't want to be different just for the sake of being different. But I asked myself those questions many, many years ago, 30, 40 years ago, before I ever heard of this wisdom from the dean of the Harvard Business School. I have been a subscriber to the Harvard Business Review now for 20 years, but this goes beyond 20 years. And so I created my company, and I'm not suggesting this for anybody. What I'm saying is this, because we need to challenge ideas, okay? But we only should challenge ideas if we come up with something that's better for clients, not just to be different. So what I created was the master market analysis. Now, that doesn't have to be anybody's name, but people do have the right to have a different name for how they do an appraisal, okay? So what's the difference? So a CMA was to help people achieve an estimate of fair market value. But an MMA, a master market analysis, stood for, we not only will help you achieve an estimate of fair market value, we also want to review with you things you can do to enhance your value. So thinking of Christy Budnick, our CEO's campaign that we become invaluable, what would be more invaluable? A CMA that gives a person an estimated value, or something called something else that also includes things that you can do, okay, in terms of staging, merchandising, how to merchandise your home to look its best, okay, and a lot of other things here, and also the truth about pricing. So this is more comprehensive, Andrew.
This master market analysis, by the way, I love the term. Call it whatever you want. I'm calling it the Sure Group Master Market Analysis, but that's just me. The master market analysis, truth about pricing, is about a book chapter on pricing, and it kind of blew me away. So I'm going to make sure that links up here somewhere. I'll put it in a PDF. You got to read the truth about pricing, which you wrote.
But Andrew, this may be too outdated, because after all, why would we want to go back 800 years and have a jury trial? Why would we want to go back 800 years when they came out and said no one's above the law? Why would we want to go back 800 years with one of the first exemplifications was to protect and preserve the royal forest? We can't afford to go back at ideas, can we?
Well, they always
I'm
say,
being facetious. Go ahead.
Of course you are. People always say there's no new ideas under the sun. Why do you think I took your DVD of your presentation from 1987 and watched it twice and was making notes?
Yeah.
I wasn't doing it for my health.
Well, you want to be a forever agent.
I want to be a forever agent. I want to learn. I want to be the best I can be. All right, last one for segment 2, number 22. Real estate agents are coached and trained on the psychology of sales. Forever agents excel both at the psychology of sales and the sociology of marketing. Now, I've been a student of the psychology of sales since I was 21. I had the great fortune of getting a ton of training at a young age through NVR, which is Ryan Homes, one of the biggest national builders. They send you away for weeks at a time down in Virginia to make sure you're able to sell these new homes that aren't even built yet. And at the same time, I was working with a consulting firm in Baltimore on my days off. I was off Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I'd go into a sales consulting company and learning the B2B stuff, all about bonding and rapport, setting expectations, uncovering compelling ways to do business, understanding who the decision makers are, how to close, and all the different techniques. I love that stuff. And everyone, by the way, can improve in the psychology of sales. We are not demonizing the psychology of sales. It's actually incredibly important. We're just saying you're probably already good enough to win some business. But forever agents excel at that 100%. If you can't do that, then you're not going to get very far. But they also excel at the sociology of marketing. So to close it out, Alan, what is the sociology of marketing, and why is it perhaps more important than just understanding the psychology of sales?
This is a very important distinction, and you set up this discussion very nicely, Andrew. When we put together a suggestive forever agent marketing proposal in a separate segment, that's going to be 100% about the psychology of sales.
Right.
Because that's at the macro level, the micro level rather. That's because people have come through the funnel. But how do you get more people to come through the funnel? You've got to first master the sociology of marketing versus the psychology of sales. Let me ask you this question. How many real estate companies do you know that have ever announced, on Tuesday, we're having our marketing meeting? Or do you think they're more likely to say we're having our sales meeting? They're going to say we're having our sales meeting because we've announced and declared that we're predominantly a sales industry. But unfortunately, the world has changed. There's social media, there's marketing. Years ago, we didn't even use the word marketing. In the TV show The Ad Men, they don't ever talk about marketing. It didn't exist. But that world has changed. They've evolved from advertising to marketing to social media marketing. All of the threats to the industry are coming at us at the sociological level. Zillow sociology, not that they're a threat. Realtor.com's, that's sociology. All of the population shifts, people moving from urban to suburban, which our great friend Julie Vanderbloom created a division on this up in Connecticut. All of these changes are at the sociological. Millennials, seniors, move up, downsizes. This is the sociology of marketing. In almost every course, every coach is still mired at the psychology of selling level. That's stultifying the development and the evolution of real estate agents, but we can't let that beset the evolution of hold back the evolution of forever agents. And so that's what we talk about is the sociology, to be able to have programs, move up, downsizing, short sale programs, REOs, and a lot of realtors have this. But most of these outside coaches, they can't go here because they can't speak to our brand value. They can't create a CRM for us. They can't create our websites. They're not going to have all the programs that Wendy has developed, downsize, moving up, real estate planning. These are sociology. This is the sociology of marketing. But most of these, all they're left with is still going back over NLP and is he tactile? Is he auditory? Here's 7 closing techniques. Here's the Ben Franklin closing technique. Here's the takeaway. This has been going around and around for 50 years. That's fine. We've mastered that. We've got to get desperately to the sociological level.
This is one of my favorites because if you want to get big and not just sell more homes, but sell homes for more, it all comes down to understanding demographics, sociology, population segments. And our team here, our vision is to get to 1,000 units a year. We want to sell 1,000 homes a year. And once we get there, we'll probably move the goalpost back. That's just how it works. No one can accomplish that without understanding the sociology of marketing. Look at any of the top agents from any brand. They understand this, but so few do. So I'm glad you emphasized that.
Let me tell you some of the sociology that I've been involved in at my company. And I really don't like to personalize this because I'm not comfortable and I end up getting criticism. Okay, it comes with the game. But I want to share some of the things that I've done at the sociological level. First of all, my planning guide ideas, sociology. It's not like this is only for tactile people. This is only for D's. It's for everybody. I created the Rent to Buy Assistance Program.
Love that.
That's sociology. I created homes guides in 6 different languages. Sociology. I created the 4 hours of short sales. Sociology. Okay? All of these move up, downsize, things about the state, community videos for everybody in the town, state videos. That's how you can dominate the micro level, is by owning the macro level, because you're not going to, the top agents in the networks, they're not losing listing calls because they said, how does this sound to you instead of how does this feel to you? Give me a break. But that's all these other programs are left to talk about.
That's it for segment 2 of episode 2. We've covered 22 proclamations. And as always, which ones are you going to take to heart? Which ones are you going to take action on? Which ones don't you agree with? This is what I want to do. I want to dispute it with the global network because I believe in these things. Stay tuned. We got 11 more, and that'll wrap up our 33 Forever Agent proclamations
And exemplifications.